Over the years, we've always heard a lot about the need to improve the agriculture sector, not enough is being done, the food import bill being too high, and on and on and on and on. And we want to find out what is being done to, get people involved in the agriculture sector, because many people say it is a way for us as a country to move forward and probably decrease the food import bill as well. So to talk with us about our food and agriculture sector, we have Mr. Reza Ramgati, Senior Instructor, Animal Science at the University of Trinidad and Tobago, and Professor Marlon Knight, who is Program Leader of UTT's Biosciences, Agriculture and Food Technologies Program. Now, these gentlemen are here to talk to us about UTT's thrust to further develop the agricultural sector through the provision of high qualified and knowledgeable graduates, which is important.
Yes.
Mr. Ramgati.
So, good morning, and thank you for having us. The University of Trinidad and Tobago, and more so the ECIAF campus, and what is now known as the BAFT campus, Biosciences, Agriculture and Food Technologies campus. That campus came under UTT back in 2006, and the mandate generally is to produce a practical, trained graduate, and therefore we want to ensure that our students become relevant to the agriculture needs, the agricultural demand in Trinidad and Tobago. And so what we do is that we provide that quality training, that quality education, that quality service that our students can take outside and help build the agriculture sector.
Because but the thing is, people go to university, they come out with a degree and they can't find jobs. Now the agriculture sector should be different.
Well, the agriculture sector is different. It's one that is open for developing one's own businesses. And the reality is the University of Trinidad and Tobago, and in particular the ECIAF campus, is known as the entrepreneurial campus. Our programs are not only designed for students to understand the science, to be able to engage in the practice of agriculture, but also to be able to develop their own businesses. A sort of significant component of our program is to be able to guide students to opportunities for further processing, value added, from moving all the way from primary production to the shelf.
I want to get with Mr. Ramgati for you to tell us about the animal science program that you have.
Sure. So let me say this morning I'm wearing two invisible caps. One is as an instructor and the other as a student. I'm a PhD student at the University of Trinidad and Tobago. And I'm glad you asked the question about the BSc, and the animal science program, because I'm also a former student from the ECIAF program doing the diploma there. And I was actually the first graduate in the MPhil, from UTT in animal science. And therefore, UTT is ideally positioned. It carries with it a group of qualified researchers, faculty members, and students. There's an environment that is conducive for learning. So as a student, I felt the need, and what UTT offered, it was very attractive for me to enter into the area of animal science. And having gone through the MPhil experience, I said, you know what, I'm also going to pursue my PhD there because of the experience I would have had. So to answer the question, in terms of the animal science program that we have coming on stream, we have now our diploma in animal health, veterinary public health, a diploma in that area, and we have coming on stream our BSc in agriculture and entrepreneurial studies. Okay, so what is involved in our animal science program? We have a 2-year diploma program. Our students will be greatly involved. It's a highly involved course of study. It extends for 2 years, and our students will gain the practical skills as well as the theoretical training, that makes them ready for the work environment.
Talk about practical skills, so they would go into the farms or whatever it is and actually do the work that they would be doing if or when they get out of university.
That's correct. And it's actually a course of study. Our students are there from about 6:30 in the morning, and they will do their farm practicals. We will talk about a chemistry lab and a physics lab and so forth. We have what is described as the farm lab. So our students will gain their practical exposure very early in the morning, all right? And then they will go to class from around 9. They will have their theoretical training. And then they're back on the farm in the evening. They're there over the weekend. And that is what gives the UTT ECIAF or the BAF student the cutting edge, you know, among the others.
Yeah. And that practical experience is something that would help them moving forward, because, you know, anywhere you go to work, they always want practical experience.
Yes, yes, definitely. And even the stakeholders, the employers, you know, when they look at a UTT ECIAF or BAF graduate, it's always one that they, you know, they would look at and consider significantly for that position.
Yeah. I just wanted to toss the discussion now to Professor Marlon Knight. Tell us about the Agriculture and Food Technologies program.
The Agriculture and Food Technology program, again, is based on a sort of similar principle. Involved practice, but it is a practice that helps us to understand the science. So our science is not diminished, but we are also utilizing that practice. Our programs lead us similarly in the Diploma in Agriculture, morning practicals, afternoon practicals, so that we produce that work-ready individual. Additionally, our new course, our new degree in Agriculture and Entrepreneurship will comprise four options. So it's a general agriculture degree, but you can also concentrate in the area of animal science, crop science, biotechnology, and agro-processing. One of the things I want you know, the general public to appreciate is that the ECIAF campus, and now the BAF in UTT, is a campus that is more than 64 years old. It actually was established about 4 years prior to the establishment of the University of West Indies, St. Augustine. And throughout its history, that institution has produced premier graduates who have gone on to lead agriculture development throughout the Caribbean. And under UTT, we have continued to offer these programs and have expanded to include our new, for example, upcoming Natural Resource Management program, which would also offer options in forestry, in land management, water management, and parks and wildlife.
So it's a wide program that students can get involved in, and the practical experience, as Mr. Ramgati said, you know, is there for the students to take part in. So they come out with this experience, and then what?
And then what? You have the options. Because we are grounded in science, students can move on from the diploma level to the degree to master's or PhD, if that is the option they want. They can go into industry. Part of our practical experiential learning also involves internships, study tours as well, where they actually go to industry, or absolutely they can sometimes go onto farms that would allow them to develop that practical skill so that they can in turn service the industry, or, as I said, start up their own businesses. So the options are very, very open. In many cases, our students are employed or start their businesses within the first 6 months after graduating.
So it's an encouraging program, would you say, for people to get into?
I will definitely agree with that. Yes, it's a very encouraging program, and I say that from having gone through the process. Okay, it's rewarding, and you have staff there who's willing to help. So now I'm shifting as a student, right? We have the staff there to assist the student through the learning experience.
And I want to find out about the graduates over the years. Ms. Professor Knight, I see you are the program leader.
Yes.
You know, how has the graduation taking place? So is it that every year you have 50 graduates, 60 graduates? How many people graduate from the programs?
Yeah, I think our program it's probably going to be graduating close to 100 students every year. We comprise, as I said, the biosciences, agriculture, and food technology. So combined, we are graduating over 100 students. Our students, as I indicated, from the diploma level all the way up to a graduate program. So it's somewhat well-kept secret, and that's part of the reason that we are here. We want to let the nation know that our programs are strong and vibrant. we just recently, the president spoke to me and told me that we need to do something with the dormitory facilities, and I believe either on Friday or today we are looking at sites where perhaps the establishment of a new dormitory facility. We have expanded our program offerings, improving the technology on the farm so that we ensure that we have appropriate modern technology to train and to demonstrate to not only our students, but also producers who we interact with on a regular basis.
I'm glad you said that, you know, this is what the university is doing. But there is so much uncertainty right now surrounding the University of Trinidad and Tobago. Not many people sure what's happening. Some programs had to be shut down, not in this, not in the agriculture sector or in ECIAF, but different programs. So people might be thinking, you know, this university is going through so much uncertainty, you know, should I take this risk?
So let me give you a few examples. Definitely, it's well known that the university is going through some reorganization, and deliberations are taking place between the union and the leadership of the university and the Board of Governors. In the interim, while that is taking place, we are doing things that have allowed the university to jump 500 places in terms of university rankings. We are set to launch new degrees, a new degree in aeronautical sciences, engineering. We are set to launch a new degree in, I think it's music technology. We are set to launch a new degree in agriculture and entrepreneurship, as I mentioned before. So yes, we are undergoing some reorganization. However, things are taking place. Another thing that is going to be occurring pretty soon, I think it's in the middle of May, our aviation students would be moving into their new classrooms at the Camden campus, fully outfitted with new technology to allow them to ply their trade.
Yeah, that Camden campus has been, you know, you've heard a lot about that.
And it's coming on stream.
And it's coming on stream. So that is something else that they can look forward to, the students who want to get into that. But we're talking about the agriculture sector in particular now. And Mr. Ramgati, you're a student as well as a lecturer.
Yes, I am.
Share with us the experience that you have had as a student and then as a lecturer, taking into consideration that there are people listening and they may want to get involved.
Yes. So, as I said, as a student, what allowed me to move and let's say to stay at UTT, moving from the MPhil to continue working my PhD, was the environment. As I said, the quality staff and the quality researchers there, the faculty members, and the environment. It is one that allows for training and for educating someone. Not only that, but over the years, the University of Trinidad and Tobago have made strategic linkages and collaboration with other universities, so that my training and whatnot was not only, let's say, at UTT, but I was able to connect with other people in the discipline that I'm interested in. And so that allows for the broadening of your knowledge and your training and deepening. So that I think any student would want to ensure that when they engage in research, it can stand sound scientific scrutiny. And therefore, coming out of the UTT, that is what I gained from it. The work that we did, that is something that can be held up as, you know, facing sound scientific scrutiny. The second thing, even as an instructor, once you understand what it is to be a student, all right, as an instructor, you want to create an environment so that your students can benefit from a similar environment that you've experienced as a student. So that makes it, you know, the drive and whatnot to make our student have a similar experience that you would have gone through.
And Professor Knight, you are teaching at the University of Trinidad and Tobago.
Yes, sir.
What do you want to see from the students?
What I want to see, and what I have seen already since I've been there over the last 4 months, is application. Our students are very dedicated. They are focused. It helps that we are a residential campus, so our students, you know, most of our students do not have to go through the hustle of getting there and driving back and to and from. I want to see the students relate what they are doing to the needs of our country. We also try to instill a sense of civic responsibility by getting our students involved in service learning opportunities and other types of experiential learning that would really bring home what we are teaching and show it's relevant to the wider society.
All right, Professor Marlon Knight and Mr. Reza Ramgati, we have to take a break, but when we come back, I want to talk a little bit about the registration process for students who want to get involved in this program. This is Good Morning Trinidad and Tobago. We take a break and come back. Culture and Food Technologies program, and they are still here with us to walk us through the registration process for these courses and others at the University of Trinidad and Tobago.
So we're telling students out there, if you have 5 O-levels, math and English included, and you're considering what's your next step, we are saying to you this morning, University of Trinidad and Tobago is the place for you, because that is where I started. And if, let's say, there are other persons who are saying, well, I do not have my 5 O-levels, but you've done some training and whatnot, we have an entry route that's called the mature entry route. So you do not meet the academic qualifications, but you've done some courses. We are still saying to you, let's come up on the website and you can complete an application. Also, people who would have done the Caribbean Vocational Qualifications, the CVQs, we are asking as well that you also consider coming to the University of Trinidad and Tobago. Prior to us coming on set, we heard one of your former persons speak about the barbecue business, and someone spoke about art. And I felt it was really setting the context for UTT, because we would involve all of those things. You want to talk about the art, you talk about the food, you talk about agriculture, animal health. UTT is the place for you. How do you apply? You can go onto our website, www.u.tt/apply, all right? And you'll be guided through the process.
But why UTT though? You tell us, yes, this is the place to be, this is how you apply, but there are other universities that we can go to.
There are other universities that you can go to, and some universities have a different focus. It may be the same courses, but the focus, and we have always been that entrepreneurial university. We have always been that university that is going to produce that work-ready individual. More than that, the University of Trinidad and Tobago was formed to specifically address the human resource requirements of the people of Trinidad and Tobago. And as such, our programs are flexible, they're innovative, we respond to the policy decisions of the government to ensure that the manpower resources are met.
And I'm glad you mentioned that you respond to the policy decisions of the government, because people are always complaining that our food import bill is too high, we're not paying much attention to agriculture, in the budget it is not getting enough. Mm-hmm. How are you all working with the ministry?
Well, I am able to communicate with officials from the ministry and on occasion the minister as well. The minister, for example, recently asked me to chair a dairy development working group. We're going to start our work very soon and look at ways and approaches by which we can resuscitate that particular industry. We are also able to make suggestions with respect to policy, and so we are feeding back on each other. We support their training programs, those of the ministry, as well as farmers' organizations. On Wednesday, we would be hosting a cheese making workshop supported by the Trinidad and Tobago Sheep and Goat Society, and so we continue to see this as a partnership. The things that we addressed are two really critical things going forward. In the near future, we would have to double our food production to meet that growing population. I think it's projected to be about 9 billion by 2050. So we have to double food production. We have to do that in an environment where folks are very interested in how the food is produced. So they are concerned about the environment, they are concerned about the welfare of the animals. So not only are we addressing the food production issues, but we are also addressing that natural resource, environmental stewardship issues in our programs.
Yeah, because you look at what is happening in Venezuela and their food crisis, you can say, if we don't double our production, would you say we'd be in such a position?
Well,
or could possibly be heading to a situation similar to what Venezuela
could possibly be. And just to jump off on the point that Professor Knights is making, when you consider what is being identified in the Caribbean, you have the total food import bill in the Caribbean being in the vicinity of $4 billion US dollars. By 2020, it is expected to reach about 8 to 10 billion US dollars. And therefore, UTT, again, I have to come back and say UTT is ideally positioned in the sense not only is it providing national training, but also regional training and international training. We have quite a number of our students reading for the diplomas and so forth from the region. And so after their training, they are able to go back to the various islands, and they occupy key positions in helping to develop the agriculture sector. So UTT is not only meeting a national need, but it's also extending its relational orbit and satisfying the need of food, sovereignty and food security in the region.
So, and if I would just add to that, see, the challenge is not only that we need an expansion in terms of food production. We need to increase what is referred to as productivity, because the resources that we have are finite. We have a limited amount of land, we have a limited amount of water. So we have to train, produce graduates that would be able to utilize technology to increase productivity, produce more in a given land space, get that animal to give you a little bit more. In that way, we become efficient. In that way, it becomes cost effective as well. In that way, the agriculture practitioners are able to make a high standard of living.
Right. Well, Mr. Reza Ramgati and Professor Marlon Knights, I would like to thank you both for coming in and talking with us about these programs at the University of Trinidad and Tobago. Mr. Ramgati, what is the website again that people can go on to?
It's www.u.tt/apply.
Yeah. And that is how you can apply to the University of Trinidad and Tobago for these and any of the programs offered at the University of Trinidad and Tobago. Gentlemen, thank you very much again for coming in and talking with us. This is Good Morning Trinidad and Tobago. We take a break and come back with more.